Nightmares when I was young. It always came during a regular dream. Everything would seem happy and adventurous and normal, eventually static. Rooms become less lively, less people around in my dreams. Doors close around me. I am alone in the dark. Hands imprinted on the walls reaching out for me. That was just one of the early ones. Later on I remember on bed with cousins, static starts, and we hear a bell, and each time the last person running to the bed and covering their faces would scream in agony as we watched a giant-faced grey muscular being barge open the door and drag them out. There was also a dream where it started a nightmare. A door lead to the exit of the dream but dared us ominously to open it. People with me seemed too real, too lifelike. As if we were all dreamers. We talked about opening the door or just waiting it out. Eventually one person couldn't take it anymore and opened it. Something with many arms crawled out and everything went dark. People were screaming and then I was alone in the room, door closed. It creaked open. I woke up. I never see static on TV anymore. And I fear the day that I finally do experience it, for it might actually be the day where my nightmares bleed into reality. Oh, and this one time I walked into a sterile white room where a guy with no skin oozing blood from everywhere was sitting on a metal folding chair just rocking around and around trying to talk through slashed vocal cords but just gushing blood instead. I escaped the facility and found that it was some kind of base hidden in wood surrounded with razor wire.
Be a counselor in training, meaning I'm general labor, but not officially assigned to one group of kids. Up at the camp for 8 weeks, no computer, no internet, no phone. After 4 weeks of constant cheery togetherness I need a goddamn break. Skip out of the campfire sing-along, and go to the old hall on the other side of camp. I'm the only person around for like a mile. There's a stereo there, play some metal, turn it way up, because there's nobody around. Read this old Stephen King book I never had time for. Someone yells turn it off, I'll get up, and turn it down, but, hello, nobody. Look outside, nobody, there's nowhere to hide. Check the 2 other rooms in the building. Nobody. MFW fucking ghosts only like camp songs.
True story, no fucking joke. Be me, 5 years ago, smoke weed every day, live with parents. They know, they don't care, playing video stoned, can of Sunkist is empty, gotta refuel, it's late. Everyone is asleep, mom used to drink wine and vodka a lot and be up late like me, smoking a cig or 2 while drunk at the kitchen stove. Walk through hall, after exiting on right side there were 2. See smoke floating around kitchen stove, mom must be awake. I walk through the open kitchen door to peer into the left to say hi mom, she's not there. WTF. See darker cloud of smoke towards the middle of the cloud of smoke, outer edge looked like cigarette smoke, sitting there floating for a good second before dissipating into nothing. Holy Jesus. JPEG. Casually but shocked I throw my can away and get another soda, thinking in my head I must have hallucinated, but it was so real. Play video, think about it, shrug it off and smoke more weed. Nothing happened for the rest of the night. Next day, tell dad it felt like a dream, but swear to God I did see some smoke form in the kitchen and I was absolutely sure of it. Dad's eyes widen as he is shocked, tells me one night a few years before that my mom woke up to the sound of my dad choking in his sleep. She saw that same dark cloud of smoke hovering above my dad. Said it disappeared when she laid eyes on it. No fucking way. First unknown entity encountered, but it wasn't a good one. That was a fucking trip. If anything, best I can describe it, it looked similar to the smoke monster from the show Lost. Believe me or not, ITC. All I know is I saw something which had direct correlation with me and my parents that made me a believer on things that can actually exist.
Nothing really happened, but it's a bit strange. Bored with friend, we like to do night drives in the rural areas outside town. Visit this tiny church, having a look around. As we're walking around, I see a light on a gravestone. LT looks like a small, floating pink ball hovering just in front of the gravestone. I should have gotten the name and date in hindsight. Friend is getting antsy. I'm not too skittish. Go over to have a look, because I think it's an LED, and curious as to why it's there, crouch near gravestone. Staring at this light, it's not an LED. It's just hovering there, like a lightning bug, but it stays on, right next to tree line. mere feet away, friend is begging to go, not looking at me or the light, but behind me, he's really getting scared. So I agree, and begin to leave. He's speed walking to the truck, tells me there was a big black shape in the tree line moving right where I was crouching. Anyone have any idea what I saw? The light or the shape?
Be me back in October. President of college's astronomy club. Have observing night with group of other college kids. Set up telescope dome and we all head to control room, CPIC. Telescope being weird. It's just old and cold, it will be fine. Have always on intercom between control room and dome. Hear whistling through intercom coming from dome. An actual tune, not just wind. Everyone is in control room. Telescope image on computer screen goes black. Group of us go upstairs to check, no one there. Lens caps has been put back on telescope. Search roof, no one there. Creeped out, but continue anyway. Later in the night. Finally get telescope working, close, and lock dome door, feeling a little paranoid after earlier in the night. Go back to rest of group in control room, everything working as normal for a couple hours. Suddenly computer screen in control room goes black. Loud bang over intercom. I run upstairs to check out the dome. See door to dome hanging open. Search rooftop again. No one there. Only way off roof is down the stairs past us. No way we wouldn't see or hear them. I cannot explain this.
15. Not many friends. Invite best friend and a guy he's friends with called Bruno. It's important to note, the three of us had known each other for a long time, since we had been on the same school most of elementary all the way to high school. Bruno used to be a popular kid in elementary, but his parents had some weird situation when we were in 4th grade and they got divorced for a bizarrely short time, like 2 months. They got back together, but somewhere in between, Bruno got mentally wrecked and most people stopped hanging out with him. He became weird and paranoid, constantly talking about how some songs had hidden satanic messages in them and stuff like that. He also became a bit of a germaphobe. Decide to sleep in a tent outside, in backyard's woods. Bruno completely opposes the idea, saying it's not safe. Keeps saying some individual is gonna come kill us if we do, can't remember the name he said. Ignore him, chalk it up to his usual behavior. Nighttime. Another friend joins us. Having a good time, playing Ego. Bruno is absolutely terrified inside his sleeping bag. Keep saying what's his name is gonna come get him. We all keep telling him to chill the fuck out, that if there really was someone out to get him, he'd be just as safe inside. Eventually fall asleep. Wake up in the middle of the night. Notice Bruno isn't inside the tent. Go outside. Bruno is outside, doing a weird duck waddle while slapping his own ass and singing a Bee Gees song. Ask what the fuck is he doing? Bruno immediately gets up, and runs back to my house, all the while screaming like a banshee. Everyone wakes up. Bruno bangs on the door like a maniac until mom lets him in. Bruno runs into the house and cowers in a corner, saying what's his name is out there. Dad goes out to check and sees nothing but the tent and Bruno's clothes in a pile. Bruno is freaking the fuck out, so mom decides to call his mom to come get him. His mom arrives, dressed in a weird black velvet tracksuit and slippers. It should also be noted that neither of us really knew Bruno's parents, since we had only been to his house 2 or 3 times and he had a nanny that picked him up from school. Asks my mom some questions once Bruno is in her car. Might have been me, but it sounded like she was actually expecting someone to have appeared. Next day, Bruno tells us he's not allowed to hang out with us anymore, since his mom thinks we're a bad influence. That year was the last time I saw Bruno. He left our school and none of us has heard of him ever since. I would try to look for him, but something tells me he wouldn't be too fond of social media.
Moved to small Oregon town. Drive a 98 Nissan Pathfinder. My family has lived in this town for decades. Make friends and introduce myself around town. Start working for a local lady who does landscaping. A few months in, I drive to her house. to get ready for work. Sheriff sees me, flips a bitch and pulls me over. We've become friendly, so I assume he wants to say hi. He looks puzzled and asks me how I managed to unflip my car. What? We got people calling us and saying you flipped your car out at Broadbent Road. We thought you were injured. Me and my car are obviously fine. Fuck it. Went to work. Boss is rushing to her car. When I get there, she sees me pull up and is visibly shaken. She heard my car was flipped and was getting ready to go tell my wife. Lol, what, I'm fine though. The whole fucking day, every client assumed I was dead. We went driving down Broadbent Road. It's a long fucking road, but there was no signs of a car. Someone put a cross out at a random ditch though. No one has any idea who. The cross is technically on private property. We knock on the guy's door, give him the rundown of said events, and ask him if he knew who put the cross there or what it was for. Has no clue. To this day, every time I drove down that road and past that sign, I get goosebumps. But I constantly think about swerving and crashing, like I'm supposed to fulfill some kind of prophecy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy.